Hi, everyone. This is Jennifer Van Alstyne. Welcome to the Social Academic Featured Interview Series. Today, I am speaking with Dr. Alante Whitmore. We're going to be talking about podcasting, which is something that a lot of you have been interested in. So I'm excited for you to be here today. Would you please introduce yourself? Just let everyone know who you are.
Absolutely. Jennifer, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. We've been internet buddies for years now, which is like kind of amazing. So to be here. So hi, everybody. My name is Alante Whitmore. I recently completed a joint PhD in civil engineering and engineering and public policy at Carnegie Mellon University, where I studied autonomous vehicle policy research. So that was kind of just to give you a high level idea of the work I did in my daytime and nighttime. And then on the weekends and in the wee hours of the night, I built a podcast and community called Black and in Grad School. And there I chronicled my experience as a Black woman pursuing a PhD in engineering, and also interview other early graduate students and early career professionals about their graduate experience, with the whole hope of motivating, inspiring, providing tips, tricks, mindset shifts for graduate students to get through their journey.
Oh, I love that. What a good podcast topic. And it also is going to help so many people. It's one of those things that those resources are going to be valuable to people again and again for years to come. So I love your podcast. I'm not a big podcast listener, but I loved the episode that you did about decorating your apartment on a grad school budget. I was like, oh my gosh, so many good tips. And I'm a big thrift store, so I really enjoyed that. But I love that you interview a lot of Black women and really give them a platform to share their stories and their advice. What inspired you to start a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, my own experience through graduate school. So prior to going to Carnegie Mellon, I finished my master's at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and did undergrad at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, which is a historically Black college. And the transition between my undergraduate experience and grad school was very jarring. And a lot of people maybe assume because I went from an HBCU to like a predominantly white institution, the academic rigor was the same. It was the social pieces and some of that kind of hidden curriculum around how one navigates themselves as a graduate student that I really wasn't knowledgeable about. And so I really stumbled through my first graduate school experience. I didn't know I was supposed to show up to like Friday coffee, to connect with my professors. I wasn't really involved and engaged in a way that was like beneficial to me as someone who's a aspiring profession in the career. So when I left and finished my master's, I went and worked in Detroit at the McNair Scholars Program at Wayne State University, and I led that program. And if you're not familiar with McNair Scholars, it is a program that helps first generation low income students go to graduate school. So there I got all this professional training around grad school readiness and retention in graduate school. And so coupled with my own experience and my professional training, I just felt when I decided to go back to graduate school, there was so much I wished someone told me that had nothing to do with like the technical or academic skills we need to be successful. I think a lot of us have that already. It's just like, oh yeah, you are supposed to go to Friday coffee. Oh yeah, this is how you manage a meeting with your advisor. Here's how you kind of work through those stickier situations where we may not have a safe space to ask those questions at our university. And so that is how Black and in Grad School started. That was a very long answer, but that's how it started. And the whole idea was just like what I wish someone told me, a resource I wish I had when I started back in 2012.
Oh, I love that. It sounds like what you went through and your experiences helped inspire you to create this really beneficial resource for everyone who's going through it now and who may be advising students who are also going through this journey. You said earlier, I think you said hidden curriculum, and that in grad school, especially if you're not from an academic family, right? If your parents aren't PhDs, especially if you're from a low income household, these kinds of hidden curriculum things, it just no one's going to tell you them unless someone like you is going to create resources around it. So I love that you're welcoming that community and starting that conversation for so many people across the country. Now, how did you kind of get started podcasting, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want to have a podcast, but what was the process for you like when you were actually getting started and hitting the ground running?
Oh, absolutely. Now, what I would not recommend my path was
That's good to know too.
Yeah. This was 5 years ago, okay, when you could start things on your phone. I swear, y'all, for those listening, I literally grabbed my phone and put the mic as close to my mouth. I mean, if you go back to like the first 10 episodes, they're terrible. I mean, they are terrible because it's literally me on my blow up mattress because I didn't have a bed yet because I just moved to Pennsylvania, talking on my phone. I maybe did a little bit of light editing on my computer, but it was literally stream of conscious, right? That's how I started Black in Grad School. And then I upgraded to my computer. And so then the next 20 episodes are me like huffing into the computer. Then I finally invested in a mic and the quality improved. I started to invest in editing and started to think about crafting stories, started interviewing people around the 20th episode as well. Like, oh, this would be really good to bring in more perspectives, more experiences. And so it was a very organic growth that happened from the start. And yeah, would not recommend starting with your phone anymore because we have really great inexpensive mics that you can use to get started. But that's how it started. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool that it really was this project and you're like, I'm going to do it. Even if it's on my blow up mattress with my phone in my hand, I'm going to create this. And you created something that people are coming to again and again. I love how on Instagram, people are just like, oh, this made a big difference for me. Listening to this interview is what helped me get through this particular thing. And so I think that it's really created this wonderful community around your podcast. Now, what do you like about podcasting? Why did you choose podcasting over like blogging?
Sure. Oh gosh. Another transparency moment for me. I actually hate writing, right? Like I am an engineer. I'm an engineer through and through where like I wrote quite literally what was exactly needed to get this PhD. And technical writing is way different than creative writing. So I definitely feel more comfortable like writing for research. I've tried blogging in my life prior to being in graduate school. I've done a number of like entrepreneurial pursuits. And one of them was a blog, hated it, tried blogging, hated it. I wasn't able to keep up with it. And so what I love about podcasting is that I was able to be consistent. It was low pressure for me as someone who's kind of on the go. Like even right now, I just left the gym, so I have a hat on. Like I'm definitely like, Jennifer looks beautiful, eyebrows done, lipstick. I've like right and got here. And podcasting takes that pressure away from me, so
it does.
Yeah, create consistently. And I'm not really worried about like the visual. And I love podcasts. And I kind of started to realize the power of podcasting and having someone in your ears in the intimate moment of listening to someone else's thoughts or hearing their perspective. So it just felt like a very natural fit because I had tried the other forms. They weren't really for me. And this one I was able to make stick. Yeah.
So you're a podcast listener yourself and you've tried blogging and you didn't enjoy it. So I really like the things you said about how it allowed you to really be consistent. And that is so important when we're creating something new, when we're creating this kind of new project that is going to take an unknown amount of time, really, when we're starting out. That idea of consistency is something that a lot of people don't think about. And when professors tend to approach me and they're like, I want to start a blog, I'm so excited about this. And I talk with them a little bit about some of the things that go into it and how much work they might have to do in order to get things up and running. And they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So was there anything that was really surprising about the podcasting process that you learned once you kind of got into it?
I think the editing, right? There's quite a bit of editing that goes into it. And that was something that I had enough foresight to realize I needed to delegate, right?
Smart, yeah.
So what happened in my second year of my program, I actually moved into a cheaper apartment because I really was like enjoying Black in Grad School. And I knew I needed funding, like to be able to put a little bit of money towards it. I mean, graduate student, I was making.
I love that.
But I was like, okay, I can now carve out $100-200 a month towards an editor. And so that was the first thing I invested in to take that off of my plate. and it is very time consuming. And I'm so grateful to my editor, who's like one of my best friends, Stephanie. I'm also very fortunate to have like a best friend who's an editor, right?
That's wonderful.
Yes, I'm very grateful for her. And so I told her like, hey, I'm doing this project. Here's what I can afford right now. And as Black and in Grad School grew, I was able to like do some increases in like her pay. But
Right.
she was also a very supportive person. You can look at Fiverr, you can go Upwork, you can do a bunch of things to kind of delegate if you know there's a piece of the process that like you just simply don't want to do, don't have the time to do. So that was the piece I think that I very quickly realized like this is a time suck for me, and it's
Yeah.
actually will that will actually harm or kind of decrease my productivity or consistency if I'm the person responsible for editing. Yeah.
That is so smart. It's really nice that you figured out the piece of that puzzle where you're like, if I send this off and I get some help with it, that's what's going to allow me to actually produce more and put more energy, the kind of energy I want to, into this project. I love that you chose to change kind of your lifestyle in order to actually put more energy into this and more finances too. A lot of people don't realize that some money may have to go into the kind of upkeep or creation of a project like this. So I really appreciate your transparency with that.
Absolutely.
Now, you must have made that decision because it was impacting you in some greater way. I'm curious, what kind of impact has the podcast had on your life or your online community?
Yeah, I mean, so many amazing things have come from Black and in Grad School. I mean, and when I started this, this our conversation, it was like I genuinely was just wanting creating something I wish existed, right?
Yeah.
And from that, I've had speaking engagements at universities like across the country, which is really exciting, especially during the pandemic. I was able to do a lot since it was virtual.
That's
Um,
great.
like blew my mind, right? I've done campaigns, so I've dabbled in the influencer space as a result of Black and in Grad School, so kind of representing like the graduate lifestyle to an extent.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't fully take on the identity of an influencer. It feels awkward, but the reality is that is a stream of income that has been helpful, especially when I was finishing up my PhD in like the last like year or so. It was really like, okay, great. This is actually bringing in income,
Mm.
sponsorships, and lastly, my community. So in 2019, I started the Scholar Circle. It's a community for folks in grad school. It's a accountability and co-working community. So we meet 3 times a week for a total of roughly 8 hours over those 3 sessions, and we work together. We get things done. And in the membership community, there are, a host of resources to help you through your graduate school journey. And so that also became a piece that I didn't anticipate
Mm.
growing. Like I that was, and I will also be honest, that was very hard to grow. And that took time, and even still it takes time to readjust and attract new people, and that is a task, but it's a labor of love. So all of these different things kind of have cropped up. Also have merch, so there's just like so many kind of different new streams of income that helped me support the podcast, so I didn't have to be the one putting the money into it.
Oh, that's amazing. So you've created streams of income that are associated with the content that you create, this podcast, and that helps you support the creation of the podcast.
That's right.
So if you're listening and the Scholar Circle, that kind of co-working and accountability sounds great to you, I'm going to include the link below the video, so be sure to check that out. And one thing that I love about your Instagram and like your online presence is that that community feel is really there as well. When you're talking about how you are picking up some sponsored and campaigns for some influencer type things, that makes total sense to me, because the audience that is already following you, the audiences that are connected with you, they want to see more content that is about grad school. They want to see more of that lifestyle and what you were going through as well. So I love that you were a great representative for them and that companies were able to work with you for that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that totally came left field. I will, and it's still so funny nowadays. Like I because I realize like it is a lucrative option. and recognizing that Black and in grad school is also very niche. So there's a really interesting balancing act that happens there. But it's been very helpful. It's like, okay, now I actually like have a substantial amount of money I can support. Now I can get more resources. I can now pay someone to help me with the Scholar Circle. So it all goes back into like serving the community. So I'm grateful for it. But I also don't want to like start spamming the community, right? So there's like
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, there is a balance. And I would say I've never seen anything that looks even remotely like spam from your accounts. Yeah, you're always so thoughtful with the content that you share. And actually, you're a great example when I'm talking to other grad students about what they might want to post on Instagram. I often direct them to your account and I say, there's all sorts of things you can do. You can help people, you can talk about your own experiences. And this isn't a great example for you to check out. So I love your Instagram and oh my gosh, spammy, definitely not.
That makes me feel better. And last thing I forgot to talk about the summit, like the grad.
Oh my gosh, yes, the Grad School Success Summit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started that the first year of the podcast, and that was to, I think we're talking about like also how folks attract people. That was the event I used to help attract people to Black in grad school, and not just like current grad students, but also other folks in the academic content creation space. That's how I think I first reached out to you, Jennifer, was to be a speaker.
That's right. That's totally right.
And so it really was a way for me to kind of, one, again, tap into the community of content creators who are supporting, we're all supporting the same community.
Yes.
But then also let new people know, hey, there's this resource available. It might vibe with you. If not, I always share a bunch of other resources that might be a better fit. So that this year was the 5th summit, which like blows.
Wow. 5 years. I mean, that's really amazing.
Thank you. It blows my mind. So that is definitely like my what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like the staple event that I have every single year and is always helpful in having, creating an email, building my email list. That's like my main email list building activity for the year. I actually really enjoy it. Those 3 days are intense, but like really, really fun.
So they're fun. It sounds like it's something that helps you build your list, that helps more people learn about Black and in grad school and the Scholar Circle. But how does it help the community? What is the Grad School Success Summit and who should go to it?
For sure. So it's all about, like, again, I think everyone has the academic skills. I'm really not super concerned with folks having the academic skills. I think if you got into grad school, you've got them, but it's the social bit, it's the financial wellness, it's the emotional wellness, physical wellness, creating a person. Oh, sorry. Creating a personal brand, right? Building community, all of those other pieces of the grad school experience that universities also like don't feel fully responsible for. I feel like we try our best to create an environment where you can get some tips, you can get some information, some resources, some motivation around any of those topics. So you're a more well-rounded graduate student, not just a brain, doing research day in and day out and doing homework and doing readings. And so helping grad students think about like, what do they want their year to look like beyond their academic goals and how they're going to take care of themselves to carry those out is really the kind of the emphasis behind the summit.
I love that. Is there somewhere people can catch the replays if they missed this year's summit?
So yeah, you can totally watch the replays at gradschoolsummit.com. So they're available there. And that's for like the most recent year. So the 2022 Grad School Success Summit. If you want to watch any year before that, so 2021 through 2018, they're all available on my YouTube channel, which is the same handle as my Instagram and Twitter.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear what you're up to now. Congratulations on finishing your PhD. I know that you are in a new job, so I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have left academia. That was like, honestly, so stressful to like actually admit on the internet. I don't know why, but I feel like there's this assumption and also even my own like inner feeling that we're supposed to go on to or a tenure track position. But I really had a great
opportunity at a national energy security organization.
Ooh.
And so we look at transportation policy as it relates to reducing our dependence on oil.
Mm.
And so I am now the director of the Autonomous Vehicle Policy Research Center there. And it's really exciting. Yeah, it's really exciting work. I get to do exactly what I always wanted to do, which is stand between technical folks, so automakers, in this particular situation, with this particular expertise I've built, and policymakers to communicate kind of what's happening on that side to what's happening to the policy to help create policy. And my emphasis is on like equity informed policy. So how do we make sure that things are good for everybody when we
so
deploy
that they're accessible?
Yeah. So it's exciting.
I love that. Now, just since you were kind of anxious about talking about it online, like what kind of reaction did you get to announcing that you were leaving academia?
Yeah, I'm all resounding good for yous, right?
Yay. Good. And so if anyone's listening and you're also leaving academia or thinking about it, it is okay to talk about it online. A lot of people are going to cheer you on.
That's right. So folks, there are some folks who are like, oh, I think you would have been a great professor. And it doesn't mean that part of my life is like absolutely not an option, right? But yeah, mostly like we get it. It's hard out here. I'm finishing after the peak of the pandemic. So the academic job market was something I just wasn't really in a place to even like do at the time. I was like, I just want to I'll figure things out if I need to, but I'm very happy with my position. So
It sounds like you're exactly where you want to be, right? In that place with policy and the automakers themselves. So that's so cool. And one thing that I wanted to be sure to ask you about is like, what is your favorite social media platform? You do have a big online presence. You got multiple websites, you got your Instagram, your YouTube. Like which is your favorite?
TikTok. Where I'm not at.
That's so funny. Why do you like TikTok so much?
Oh, I love TikTok. I have a very irreverent sense of humor, and I feel like TikTok is full of all of the like just wild and kind of wacky stuff. So I thoroughly enjoy that.
It fits your personality.
There's things on there. I create a page, but like honestly, I enjoy consuming on TikTok. I haven't gotten to where I want to contribute too much. Yeah.
Well, you're a creator in a lot of different areas. You don't need to create on every platform, especially the ones that you enjoy consuming the most. So that's really fun to hear about. Now, when you have so many social media platforms, how do you like manage all of that? Like you have multiple websites, you got the social media, like that's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah. Admittedly, so I'll say this. I have a pretty good system with the podcast. So right now, the podcast isn't on YouTube. I only have like the summit on YouTube. And when I first started, I did a couple of webinars, so they're there. So my YouTube is pretty tame. So that keeps it very manageable for me, where I'm only adding 6 new videos a year for those 3 days that we have the summit, right? Now, as far as the websites, everything from the podcast goes to the website. So once I create a podcast episode through my podcast provider, I then link everything, the show notes, all of that. I'm pretty much just repurposing all of that written content and putting it into a blog post on the website. So that keeps it very easy to maintain and pretty low maintenance. Now, the social media piece, that is where probably the bulk of my content creation energy goes, because you have to create things all the time. And I more recently took a break because I was writing my dissertation. And then also, like, honestly, so much life has happened since I finished my PhD. And so even like us recording is like getting me back in the groove of content creation.
Right.
But what that looked like before was, okay, I have this episode is going to go out. I only need like 2 more pieces of content around the post with the podcast every week. So that's kind of how I managed it and kept it very, very low maintenance for me. Where, okay, I can create at least 2 more pieces of content. Now that we're in short form,
you had a good system.
I did, yeah. Thanks.
I like that your system is like all based around the podcast and figuring
Yeah.
out what needs to be shared, where it needs to be shared, and when, right? That's the multiple posts part. But it sounds like you had a system in place. And I love that you took a break during your dissertation and even afterwards. Taking a break from social media is so important, especially for our mental health and our well-being. So it's great that you shared that as well. Now, is there anything else that you'd like to add that you want to be sure to talk about during this interview? I'm having so much fun.
I know, me too. Only thing I'd say for anyone who's like starting out, the advice I give everyone, and this is what I did when I started the podcast, is before you like go live, create 5 to 10 pieces of content.
Ooh, why?
Yeah. So one, you're practicing the consistency of creating the content and making it a part of your schedule. Even if that means you're sitting and batching it, it's like, okay, this is how long it takes me to make 5 to 10 episodes or 5 to 10 videos, 5 to 10 blog posts, whatever. Then you can schedule those anchor pieces of content over those 10 weeks, 5 weeks, what have you. If it's every other week, now you've got, 20 weeks worth of content if it's bi-weekly that you're producing content. And you get to kind of mess up. Like you get to just kind of like those first 10 episodes, I don't listen to because they're not great, but I got to figure so much out with those first episodes and kind of then I could reassess and create some direction and decide if I like it. Right. I think those pieces, all of those bits are really important. One, with building an audience, 2, figuring out what works for you and your flow, and making sure you can stay committed to something you said you wanted to do.
Right. You have to like it, right? It's a big project. It takes a lot of energy and maybe even some finances if you want to get into it. So liking it is important. And I'm glad you had a topic that you were passionate about and that you put all this energy into because you created something amazing. What is next for Blackening Grad School? Will there be a new season?
Yeah, so literally I recorded an episode yesterday and it's so exciting. I definitely want to hit 200 episodes. We're at like 165 right now. So I know the goal right now is, okay, hit 200 and then we will reassess again once we hit 200. But I'm definitely wanting to continue to serve the community. I'm open to what that looks like. I think there might be time for a new voice. It might be time for a different approach. I'm really open to like what's needed from me. But also balancing my life post grad school, right? My time is different. I actually travel a lot for work. So figuring that out has been really interesting.
And one of the things that I really like about that is you've changed your lifestyle to work with this podcast. And now you're even, maybe changing the podcast to fit with your lifestyle and what the community is hoping for in the future. So thank you so much for talking to me today. Dr. Alante Whitmore, this has been a joy. We've been internet buddies for like a few years now. Been involved with the Grad School Success Summit. And so I'm so excited that you came on The Social Academic today.
Oh, so happy to be here, Jennifer. Like literally means the world to me. And make sure you link your session from the summit in the show notes.
Oh, good idea. I wouldn't have even thought of that, but I did talk about social media, how to talk about yourself online in grad school. So I'll link that below as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.